Hey, what's happening, my people? This one's quick, I promise. Um, I thank you, everyone, for the calls and the texts, and I'm trying to. I really can't answer phone calls right now. There's a lot of them, which is a good thing. People care, but it's hard for me to revisit this right now. With it's just I can't, So I'm good. I'm good, you know what I mean? But I want people to understand, and I don't know if they will understand. Anyway, this ain't a norm. I mean, number one, a parent burying their child is not a thing, that maybe it's more common today, and that's disgusting, but it's just not something. So that's hard enough. But I can't even just go to the funeral. I have to. There's a security protocol that I'm going to have to follow, and there's going to be people watching me to make sure that the people that showed up at the hotel don't show up there. And if they do, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, and I don't think people. I know people don't understand the magnitude of what I've done in that courtroom, the precedent that will be set from this. It literally changes everything. It takes all the corporate bullshit out of the courtroom. If it doesn't uphold truth, justice, and liberty for all, defend it or advance it, get it the fuck out of the taxpayer courtroom. That would dismantle the abuses of the corporatocracy. No more frivolous wars. No more policy. No more pharmaceuticals splashed all over your face for diseases that aren't really real, manufactured diseases. No more poverty. To get all of that out of the courtroom, that corporate bullshit, it changes everything. That's what I did. And the most foul judge in Oakland County history, Judge Warren, calls himself a Hall of Fame judge. He's, for what, I don't know. He might be able to recite the Declaration and the Constitution, but he does not follow it. Oakland County is a profit center for human suffering. Most jails are, to a certain extent. That's the courtroom I took over. And I know he wanted me to shut up because his little buddies at Madden Hauser probably made that call and said, we need to make this case go away. When I stepped in there on January 19th, 2024, I asked one question that froze him like a deer in the headlights, like I thought it would. And I ran the court for 3.5 hours as I saw fit. And I got the whole story out. Not that I expected him to do the right thing, but I did, at the end, expect, once I pulled the confession, that it would go, things, he would have no choice. I don't know what the pull is on him to protect these little weasels at Madden Hauser, but it's strong. So, what's happening, Robert? I'm living the dream, man. Living the dream and the nightmare simultaneously. I'm doing them both. Have a good night. I make friends wherever I go. Oh man, that's one of the things with this this whole adventure that I didn't plan, nor did I ask for. The places I've been able to stay, the people that have taken me in and supported and blah 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 and protected and whatever. I get to live with people that in a million years I wouldn't be able to be in close proximity with. We just don't cross paths like that. And where I am in my consciousness right now, I just really want to seek to understand. That's what I had with Vinny. And the truth is, if they wouldn't have done what they did to protect those attorneys from consequences for their crimes, if they wouldn't have done that, it would have been week on, week off with me and Vinny and Sophie. Could I have stopped him if he was truly suicidal? I did once. So did his mom. And the combination worked. So if there's any genius to me, it's in my ability to capture mundane human nuance, but frequency. I see it as frequency. I read scripts and I latch on to frequency. I can remember an entire Shakespeare play in 2 days, 2 reads, 2 days, because of iambic pentameter. There's a frequency to it that my whatever just latches onto, and that's how I am with humans. And now in this observation state where I have a deep sympathy and empathy for the human race in general, because of what it is that we have to endure on this planet. I could have been there for Vinny in a way that nobody else really can, and it's not their fault. I had to do grueling work to get on the other side of PTSD, and in doing that work, I learned something about everybody on this planet in terms of how the brain works, and it made me a different person. It made me a different person to the extent that I could actually listen and really put in an effort to understand rather than waiting for my opening to speak. And that's what most people do, defense mechanisms. I didn't have to be offended by different opinions. I could take it in, and I could argue, and I could do all those things, and I didn't have to worry that my life was going to collapse because someone said something different than or didn't agree with me, or thought what I said was stupid. I had this experience with Vinny right after he got out of the hospital the second time. He just got home, and I remember he wanted his trazodone. That's all he wanted. We threw the psychotropics out, and I gave him the option, and he said, I explained the pros, cons, and said, you can make your choice. I'm gonna, and he agreed with me in that he shouldn't be taking the psychotropics, whatever they were. They made up diagnoses to give those to him. That's part of their protocol. They have to do that. And he had trazodone, and trazodone was helping him sleep. So he's home, and he wants to sleep on the couch, and it's on the second floor of the house at the time. Wants to sleep on the couch, okay. So I go down there with him, and I had just done a ketamine psychedelic therapy. So I still got that, and it was really profound. So I'm still very much feeling energy and tapped in like a medium might be. So I sit down with him, and I remember seeing an outline around the cat, an aura, Whiskers. I miss that cat. Vito has her. She's good. You lose a lot when you stand for truth in a society promulgated on lies, and you have to get used to that and be okay with it. It's what it is. But I remember seeing Whiskers' hair. It seemed like it was standing up, but it wasn't so much. And then I looked at Vinny, and then I saw it looked like the hair on his arms was standing up, and it looked like they were like rushing to get out of his body. And I was like, Vinny, do you see on Whiskers? Do you see the hair? Yeah, I see it. I said, so do you feel it on your arm? Is it the hair like that? He said, yeah. I said, is that how you feel all the time? That like your skin's trying to get away from your body, and you're just... And he said, yeah. And he fell asleep. I started rubbing his hair, and he don't let people touch him. He was anti-touch. But I I was able to pat his head that night and stroke his hair like my mom used to do for me. And he fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, all of the light energy, the things that, the aura that was surrounded this went away. And there was peace in the room, on the cat, me, when he fell asleep. There was peace. And I understood my son. And I understood autism in the same deep, visceral way that I understand PTSD now. In most afflictions of the mind, even the body. I mean, it's all relative. But I knew something about him that he barely knew about himself. And I was able to use that. And he got through it. He lived. He lived to make it to 17 years old. He died a pure teenager. Like, all his life, he was just a pure, innocent kid. Hardly any fuck-ups, you know, other than a messy room or, you know, nothing like what I caused. He was one of the good ones. And I understand why he left. See, unlike me, when I was younger, I was insecure, didn't have a father figure at the time, fell in with the peer group. I got sick of fucking knocking people out. You know what I mean? I had to fight all the time because people wanted to test me. So I got sick of it. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to be the cool guy. And I had the ability to do that. I could lie about who I was because I didn't like a lot of the people I was around. I didn't like how they bullied people. I didn't like none of that shit. But I fell in with the crowd and I could act, right? I lived truthfully under imaginary circumstances due to my insecurity and lack of parental guidance. I could do that, and I did that. Life Goes On is a death note to my ego to kill off that character, Cool Vince. I didn't know that till the therapist told me that, and I was like, oh yeah, I did leave my name Vince for a reason. But Vinny didn't have that ability. He wasn't never going to fit in with the crowd. He had no desire to fit in with the crowd. As much as he thought he couldn't do whatever, he didn't know how strong he was to be able to just be himself. And I think he knew he was never, it just felt too disconnected, which autism does. Autism is one side of the brain grows exponentially, the other side stops. There's no chemical imbalance. And when it comes to autism, if anybody ever tries to prescribe you something for autism, they won't. They shouldn't. You report that doctor. But what they will do is they'll put a couple of diagnoses on there: social anxiety disorder, general anxiety, whatever the fuck. They'll put shit on there so they can prescribe them something for dopamine, something for serotonin, and then something to knock them out, Seroquel or Trazodone. They go into the hospital, that's what they're giving everybody. They don't give a fuck. They don't have time to diagnose you, and they're not going to, truly. They're going to do what the protocol is so they can get paid by the insurance companies. So with autism, it's a... one side grows, the other side doesn't. Now the lobes can't communicate with each other. So it creates a feeling of disconnection in the kid to where this is why they have the emotional outbursts, or they'll run, or they'll, you know, because they don't feel like they're in their body. And that's a horrible feeling for anybody who's felt it. Anybody who's had a near-death experience and it's the first one, you're dying, right? And you feel it, and it's scary. And I understood that. And I understood why Vinny took to cutting for a while. Not long. I was able to get him through that. His mom helped too. she the thing we did is to be effective co-parents is I had my lane, she had hers, and any petty grievances we had, we pushed to the wayside, because it was about the kids, always about the kids. He didn't. There's nothing wrong with a split family with two parents that just can't, that agree that we're better, not in some type of, not trying to force a romantic relationship or marriage, or that we can rock this shit out separately. There's nothing wrong with that. The society will tell you there's something wrong with it, but what they had, or Sophie still has, was two families that loved the shit out of them. So they got double. And if you can do that as co-parents, it does something special to the kids. Then he knew he was loved. But he had no desire to fit in with the crowd. Things just didn't make sense to him because they weren't simple. And things don't make sense to me either because they're not simple. But I got to experience life, and then I became what Vinny naturally was. I don't think I would have wanted to be here either if I didn't possess a desire or even an ability to try to make myself well-adjusted in a profoundly sick society. I don't think I would have done it. So, if I'm not taking your call, it's not personal. I need to have these moments right now. I can't have any interference, and I know it's all love. It's all love, but even that, sometimes, you interact with somebody else and you feel like you got to say the right things. I feel like I have to say the right things, and I'm the one dealing with this tragedy, and the fact that I have to come there, and there has to be a security regimen at my son's funeral, my 17-year-old son's funeral. It makes me want to come there and revert to old style of handling business, but that's not the world I want to walk my kids into. So I have to play this game, and I have to make sure that I'm able to see this mission through, because the thing is, me, Vinny, and Sophie, we agreed to it. In the backyard that night, we could have taken the money. I sat down with him and I asked him, I said, got $1 million on the table. But here's why I believe it's the wrong thing to do, even though we'll be more comfortable than ever. At the end of it, I asked them, do we fold or we fight? 15 seconds, they both said we fight. They backed me the entire time. The entire time. Without question. And they don't know exactly what it is I'm doing, as most people don't. So I know it's confusing for kids, but there's this bond that we have, this attachment to the divine that where we're able to follow that compass, them more easily than I. I had to work to get back here. This is how most kids are. They'll follow that compass. And they did. So, as tragic as this is, I'll say it again, Vinny's a martyr, and he's going on my wall of heroes. He took a stance for the truth that most people never will. There's something so heroic in the way he exited this plane of existence with confidence, with compassion for the people he'd left behind. because I think he knew he wasn't leaving us behind. I feel him more now than ever. And it's hard to go get blue raspberry Swedish fish, because that's something we used to get them whenever we'd go to the store and they had them. It'll force a breakdown, and that's what I need to allow to happen if I'm going to grieve properly. So forgive me if I can't answer your calls right now. I see them. I haven't listened to all of them. I haven't read all of them because I'm trying to